Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. Today, we discuss the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona. This is the white gold reference 116519, 40 millimeters in diameter. It is 12.3 millimeters thick and 47.2 millimeters from lug to lug with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. This watch is a Z series watch, so probably early 2006. It has an OP code on the clasp, which also indicates a 2006 vintage for the clasp itself. I'm going to take my glove off the left hand briefly just so you can see my wrist, and we'll do a wrist shot to demonstrate the scale of the watch and the fit of the watch. Of course, this being a strap-clad Daytona, it's a little bit easier to wear on a small wrist than if it were on a solid end-length bracelet. I could actually recommend this for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Mine is 16. And I've actually seen wrists as small as 13.5 wear the Daytona on a bracelet successfully. So maybe this is even viable on a much smaller wrist if your wrist is flat across the top and not really round. It'll easily slide underneath any kind of a dress cuff. It is a thin watch. It's a nice watch to pair with just about any attire. With the white dial and the leather strap, it's perhaps a bit more formal than a full oyster bracelet, but at the same time, it does have the sporty aesthetic because it is, after all, a motorsports chronograph. So it's got one lug, if you will, in each world, dress and sports watch style. I'm going to put the glove back on now and show you the watch in detail. So when you have a factory strap-equipped Daytona, you get this little insert that sits underneath the bezel. And the idea of that little white gold insert is that it prevents a big gap between the strap and the case for a more integrated look. The strap's a lovely piece. You can see Rolex. It is a very light brown, almost a honey brown, rectangular scale alligator leather. A good cut of the beast is a matte finish with a contrasting stitch, a folded edge, calfskin on the bottom. The buckle, which, as I mentioned, has an OP clasp code, features the old-style Daytona clasp. So we have a friction fit primary and then a clamshell lock secondary lock. We have several different divots, pairs of divots inside the clasp, so you can use your strap tool to dismount the spring bar and move it back and forth so you can fine-tune the fit without actually having to fit a different strap. We're going to close this all up. I guess you may want to see the marks inside the clasp. There they are right there. True to my word, that's code OP right there. So the watch is made of gray gold. Gray gold is a type of 18-karat white gold alloy that is generally considered to be the more premium type of white gold. It's white all the way through and does not need rhodium plating. And you can see on the case back, which is also made out of gray gold, it's an oyster case back screwed in. People always ask, so I show it. We have a triplock crown in gold. You know that because we have 3 dots and the center dot is the largest. The screwed in case back, screw down crowns, endow the watch with 100-meter water resistance, so on a different strap that's more water tolerant, you could absolutely swim with this watch. You can see the lacquer for the calibrations in the bezel, still deep and dark, and the tachymetric scale bezel can be used in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the speed of a moving object, such as a race car, over a kilometer. And let's not forget, for eons, the Rolex Daytona has been the winner's gift at the annual 24 Hours of Daytona Sports Car Endurance Race. So the idea of using it to gauge the speed of a race car is not entirely foreign. Rolex chronographs as early as the 1950s in the pre-Daytona era were being used on the sands at Daytona Beach, particularly for events such as the Standing and the Flying Mile. We have a dial that features white gold hands, Rolex crown, and numerals, the idea there being that they won't tarnish or oxidize with the passage of time. We have a white lacquer base with metal sub-registers for chronograph hours, chronograph minutes, and then running seconds down at the bottom. We do have a little bit of lume. We'll showcase that now. And then you can see that each one of the sub-registers has sort of a concentric pattern or an azurage. Now, we do have a few special modes here, one of which is the stop seconds function. It halts everything, so you can set the watch to a reference time. We also have the chronograph itself. We have screw-down crowns here to make the watch more water-resistant. The action is crisp. The Rolex caliber 4130 has a particularly pleasing and positive column wheel feel. And then the vertical clutch, if you look carefully, you can see it means there's no jump or stagger when you engage the chrono. The engagement is seamless, instantaneous, and precise. Another advantage is that because of the vertical clutch, if you prefer to just have your chronograph running full-time, you can do that without any additional wear and tear to the watch. Some people do like to have running center seconds at all times, and the vertical clutch lets you do that. Inside, we have caliber 4130, bidirectional winding with a rotor on a ball bearing, 72-hour power reserve, 4 hertz beat rate, 44 joules. It has the column wheel function selector. It has the vertical clutch coupling. It has the stop seconds function. It's also durable with a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. And it is timed in 5 positions, tested in 5 positions. The movement certified as a Swiss COSC chronometer, and it is actually quite large. The standard Rolex movements, the automatics, are generally 28.5 millimeter, but this movement is larger. It's 30.5 millimeters, so it nicely fills this case. Even though you can't see it, it's a good match for the size of the case, something I always like. And it does have an incredibly silky smooth winding system. These Rolex automatics are almost completely intangible in operation. So if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916 company. I have one last detail. You may wonder, how is it that the watch manages to keep such good time in all those tested positions? Well, the reason is that it has a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring. So in all of those timed positions, but also in all possible positions on your wrist or your dresser at night, it will be isochronous, or a even, consistent timekeeper. So reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex Certified standard, and any parts invested Rolex Factory Original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a certified pre-owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note, this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company, the certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.